Hi folks, can you hear me okay? All good? Thank you very much for being here this afternoon. My name is Vaibhava Ramadas and I'm a program manager in the Azure Marketplace engineering team. So today we're going to talk a little bit about Azure Marketplace. So with a show of hands, like how many of you guys have actually used the Marketplace before? Okay, that's a few. Okay, who can name one product in the Marketplace? There's a Bluetooth speaker at stake. Okay. Does anyone else want to give it a shot? So the Azure Marketplace, for those who've never been here or heard about this before, is a way for you to get access to not just products from Microsoft, but products that are from our ISV partners that are built, optimized, and certified for Azure. Right, so there's a ton of different products here that you've potentially used on-prem or worked with in other environments, but these are all built and optimized to run on Azure. So we're going to see how this works and how you can play with them. So today on the agenda, we're going to talk about a typical customer journey, then take sort of a sample scenario and go through that, and then understand in depth what it means to discover and evaluate products using the Marketplace, and then talk a little bit about sort of that holy path of moving from proof of concept to production and all of the steps that it takes and really who can help you be super successful in those steps. Right? So we'll do a little bit of a deep dive there. So first up, a typical customer journey. So everything starts with the business, right? So you have a business need, you're going to identify it and kind of figure out how to divvy it up and figure out the different components that are needed to solve this problem. Sometimes you're going to introduce new components, sometimes you're going to use existing components and replace them. In many cases, most customers already run different products and services on premises, and so you're just trying to figure out how do I take this and understand how this works in Azure, how does this work in the cloud. So the big part of sort of that next step is to identify the different components and services that you require and figure out how to discover and evaluate these products really, really easily, quickly and fast and cheap to sort of figure out what that feature set really is and how does it run. The next bit is then to sort of move on to a proof of concept, right? So here you're then taking that product into your environment and you're trying to understand how does that interoperate with other products that you're considering, how does it interoperate with existing systems that you already have, and how does that really integrate with your potential existing line of business solution. And the next bit is then to kind of go through that path of proof of concept to production. What does that really entail, right? You're looking at things like certification, you're looking at things like performance, reliability, potentially contracts. You're trying to get the best deal from the ISV partners. And so this step really involves bringing a ton of experts to the table and making sure that you're getting the best thing out of this. And then this sort of like cycles through. Right, so we're going to talk a little bit about how the Azure Marketplace really fits into all of this and how do we help in every single one of these steps. So first up, the Azure Marketplace is a great way for you to find solutions. It has a broad selection of solutions from a ton of different categories, and we'll quickly look at those in the demo. The next bit is that it allows you to try these products, in many cases for completely free. And it allows you to stand up these products super quickly, so you're not spending like a couple of days or a week just standing this thing up to understand what what the feature set is. And so there's lightweight, great ways for you to get started. As well as once you're ready with the product at hand and you're ready to deploy it, then you get to the part where you can then deploy and customize those in your environments and make them really work for you. Let's take a quick look at what the Marketplace looks like. So this is the Azure Marketplace. You can get to it by going to azuremarketplace.com or azuremarketplace.microsoft.com. What you notice here is that there's a bunch of products here from very, very popular partners, and all of which are optimized to run on Azure. The first thing that you notice is that there's a bunch of categories. So you have different products that are based on services like compute. There's a bunch of networking solutions and the appliances. There's storage solution and scenarios like backup and recovery. There are a ton of web and mobile-based solutions, and you have developer tools and database-based solutions as well. You also have a couple of new and upcoming services that our products are built on, like AI and blockchain, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well. And of course, the most popular security solutions that everyone wants to know about. Alongside the categories, what you also notice is that there's a simple search and all of that. We have search, it's nothing to brag about, but it's there. So you can always get to scenarios like, say I want a firewall, and it basically takes you to a bunch of really popular firewall solutions, things like that. The next thing to look forward here is that we have great filters that helps you get to free trials and helps you understand different pricing models as well as operating systems. So for example, not a lot of folks know that we have a ton of Linux-based solutions, for example. And so a bunch of these ISV solutions are actually built on different Linux operating systems, right? So this is the overall marketplace. There's also a great tab to know about Learn, which gives you a basic video and also tells you what you could use the different products and services for. So let's sort of jump back and look at a scenario and understand how the marketplace can help. So the scenario we have today is supply chain management. And Joe is a supply chain manager who is looking at sort of his environment, and he understands that there's a ton of different challenges. One is he has a ton of different players who are a part of this. They're all bringing in different components that are a part of his manufacturing process. And he has to track these different components. There is no centralized data. There is no centralized system that's actually processing any of this. And there's no real way for him to find out when something goes wrong. So if there's a wrong shipment with like one part that went bad, he has no idea how to actually track these and figure it out, and also figure out who the partner is or supplier is that he got it from and like what went wrong. And so he realizes that he is in a traditional trustless system, right? So Joe hears about blockchain, and so wants to understand what to do with this. Now, he understands that blockchain allows decentralization of data. It allows you, or gives you the ability to have a trusted environment where people can share data and everyone can own it and feel comfortable when data changes, because everyone is in the know and has visibility. And so he wants to explore what this means and understand what he can do with blockchain and what he can potentially do with blockchain on Azure, right? So now he can get started with something very, very simple. So for example, we have a concept of Azure solutions. If you guys have ever checked out this page, it has a ton of really cool solutions that are simple, get started ideas like digital marketing and e-commerce and data migration and all of that good stuff. And so here he notices that there's a capability that is focused around blockchain. Now he can read about the basics, like what is blockchain, what does it enable, what are the different capabilities he's going to get from it, and what does it really mean to enable blockchain on Azure? What is blockchain as a service? But then very quickly he gets to the different solutions that are offered from blockchain, which are either from Microsoft as well as from our ISV partners. And so if he's really interested in one of these, so he's heard about Block Apps, he can click on it, and what happens is you get directly taken into the Azure Marketplace, where you can now learn more about this product and get started on it, right? So it really ties your scenario to the set of products and services available. Now here, you could read about what this product is about. So first of all, there's a basic overview, and then it gets to sort of details and on what the particular offering will give you. And the best part is our partners offered these amazing get started manuals as well as samples that really helps you get an understanding of how to use this product in Azure and how to be successful. Not just that, if you're curious, you can always go to the plans and pricing and find out about what it means to actually, what is the cost of running the solution on Azure, right? So there's a couple of things here that I quickly want to point out. If you look here, the first thing is that you have a set of publisher recommendations. And so, we understand that solutions can be run in all tiers, but then the publisher recommendations directly come from the ISV. And so those are definitely the things to sort of default to or start with. And so for the different ranges of cores that are available, you have different sets of pricing that is available for the particular software. Here, it also calls out that there's actually a breakdown between the infrastructure cost and the ISV software cost as well. So the infrastructure cost is what it takes to run the actual machines, and then the software cost is the cost of, or what Block Apps charges to run this particular product, and it gives you a sense of the total retail price as well. And so once you kind of get an idea of all of this, you decide to get started. And there's a couple of different great ways to get started. First up, you notice that they have something called a test drive, and you can read about what a test drive is. But a test drive is basically a way for you to use an ISV product on Azure that is a wonderful lab-like environment that is pre-structured, gets assigned to you immediately, and doesn't even need an Azure subscription. So all you do is you basically click on it, get started, and it will provision an environment for you, and you will get a step-by-step manual that takes you through exactly how to use this product and how you can learn about this product in a short time frame. And so this is a great capability that's actually offered by a ton of our ISVs. So if you click on a test drive, the first thing that you notice is it asks you to log in. The reason this is there is because it creates a great profile for you so that you can then see all of the test drives that you've taken over time. But what this doesn't require is it does not require for you to actually have an Azure subscription yet. All this needs to be is either an organizational account or a Microsoft account that you use. And so as you sign in, this thing immediately starts provisioning that lab environment for you to play with. So I logged in, put my super secret password in there, and I get a couple of terms that will pop up. Maybe I accepted the terms. And then immediately, this environment is starting to get provisioned. Now, a couple of things to notice on this page. First up, there's a simple video for you to watch about what this lab environment is going to give you. That is not a marketing video for Block Apps. Next is you notice that there's a manual, and we'll quickly look at that. The other thing to notice here is Block Apps today doesn't give me a hot instance, and so it doesn't get assigned to me immediately. But there are a ton of ISVs who actually have like running instances as well. So in those cases, you just get assigned something. But what happens here is as soon as this environment is new and it gets provisioned, you will get an email notification that tells you, hey, your environment is ready. And these are all your, your login information, and this is the path that you need to go to, and so you can immediately get started. And so a manual is actually really cool. We work with every ISV to make sure that they can educate you both on the ISV product, as well as how it runs on Azure, as well as give you a real step-by-step list of things that you could do to learn about that product running on Azure. Oh, the internet is being fun. Trust me, there's a manual there. It's a PDF. It's going to be great. So I'll just quickly jump back. So just to quickly recap what we learned, a test drive is a super quick way to get started. You don't need an Azure subscription. It's a great way for you to try your product before you actually bring them into your environments. And the best thing is that it's a lab, and it gives you a step-by-step manual to really understand what that product does and really understand the feature set. And the time slot for that, it depends on the ISV. And the ISV determines anything between 1 and 4 hours. It depends on what the solution is and how long it actually takes for you to get an understanding of the feature set. As well as it's completely paid for by the ISVs itself, so that you can get a great experience. Now that you've sort of done a couple of test drives, you tried a couple of products, what does it mean to then get into a proof of concept environment, right? You want to start actually provisioning these in your subscriptions, in your environments, right? So almost every single ISV that we work with actually offers 30-day free trials today. And so what that means is that the software that they offer you is completely free on your subscription, right? So you can now start doing deep dives and then start integrating with their APIs, start integrating with their products in your environment. Not just that, some of our ISVs even offer 90-day free trials, like Barracuda, for example, which is a great way for you to really get a deep understanding of that product. Now, once you've sort of done this and you've tried this in your environment, you're still, definitely at least a couple of steps away from really, really feeling confident about taking this to production, right? And so a couple of typical things that people think about or consider in that stage are things like, do I have a complete end-to-end understanding of this product? Do I understand the complete API surface? Do I know how to legitimately integrate with this product? Do I understand the certifications it has? Do I have that full checklist? And what does my company require? The next part is, am I getting the best deal from this ISV? Is there a way to actually get a better deal if I have a particular contract type in mind? And then also, things are not just about a one-time rollout, right? Once things are rolled out, and you work with Microsoft to do that, you want to ensure that this runs reliably in your environment for an extended period of time. So to achieve this, you really want to bring all the experts to the table and have a real conversation about this and get it locked down. And so how do we really enable this today? One of the big things that we've been doing over the last 1.5 years is that we've been working really, really closely with the Microsoft account teams that work with all of you guys to make them specialists not just with Microsoft products, but also with ISV products that run on Azure as well as the Microsoft Cloud. And so we work with the specialists in each of the areas, your Azure specialists, the data specialists, and the specialists from even Dynamics and productivity and all of those spaces to make sure that they have a real understanding of the solutions that are out there as well as how they run on Azure. Not just that, we actually give them easy access to get connected with the different ISVs and the right people on the ISV side that they can pull into the conversations that you want to have. And so on the ISV side as well as the SI side, we work to ensure that there are experts on the ISV side who can be brought to the table who not just understand the ISV product, but also how that ISV product runs on Azure, which is really important. They can come in and give you things like demos and set up trainings. Typically, they do this in a region and bring in a couple of companies who can try their products hands-on, as well as they are always on the lookout to ensure that you have the best customer experience with their product on our platform. And so they're always looking at data, they're looking at deployment failures, they're looking at issues that happen so that they can go and fix those if they're happening with a couple of different customers, and they want to actually get those reliable and performant on the platform. SIs actually exist who work with these particular ISVs. They're certified SIs of the ISVs who deploy their products in Azure and help the ISV, help the customer take that ISV product into a production environment. And we work with those certified SIs as well so that we can then help the account teams bring them to the table for you guys to have those conversations. If you'd like to know more about that, definitely come talk to me after the session. So in general, what did we learn today? The Azure Marketplace is a great way for you to discover solutions that are optimized for Azure. You can easily get started and evaluate these products for free. And we are educating all of the right experts and partners behind the scenes so that once you get started on these products, we will be there to help you actually get a deeper understanding of the product, as well as actually take that product to production and scale it out. These are some resources of sessions that we've done over the last couple of months, so you can get a deeper understanding on certain areas, as well as there are 2 booths actually for test drives, one focused on Azure Marketplace and one focused on App Source that are at the expo. And there are actually test drives running live there with subscriptions and everything already set up for you to come and check it out. And for everyone to win the Bluetooth speaker as well. You should definitely check these out because there are solutions here on the data side, there's solutions on storage, networking, DevOps, just all across the board. So definitely come check those out and tell us what you think. Thank you very much, guys. Let me know if you have any questions.